Hold it there. Okay, take it off easy now.
This thing weighs a ton.
Must have packed his mechanic in here, too.
Put her down here. Easy now.
Okay now. Heave! Hey, not bad.
What would an interference signal look like?
Here's a normal signal, and an interference one would be either superimposed or alongside of it, and that we would not like.
We've got cars backed up halfway to that stop sign down there.
For flying site and exhibition area, $2, please.
$2, please.
$2, please.
$2, please.
One of the fastest growing sports in the world today is the building and flying of radio-controlled miniature aircraft. While the majority of the activity is done for pleasure, a great number of flyers are involved in competition, locally, regionally, and at the national level. World championships among nations began in 1960, with one held every other year in various European countries. The United States, originator of the sport, dominated the championships until 1969, when a young Swiss became the world's champion, and the West Germans won the team title. Now, it was time for another championships. As each plane is uncrated, it is carefully checked for damage in transit. Engines are run, fuels adjusted to the local climate for maximum efficiency. Highly sophisticated electronics are given the final once-over inspection. For the first time, the World Championships are to be held in the United States. The 3 best flyers from each of 22 nations have come to seek individual and team honors for their homelands, including the reigning champion from Switzerland, with other top contenders coming from as far away as Korea and Japan. As soon as entry forms are completed and sporting licenses checked, the processing center becomes the hub of activity. Each plane undergoes a stiff inspection as specified by the FAI, or Fédération Aéronautique Internationale, world governing body for all aerial competition, including these miniature aircraft. The many technicalities of processing are compounded by language problems, but even these are solved to everyone's satisfaction through the use of pidgin English and sign language. But even when contestants understand, they don't always agree. The processing, as well as all other work on the field, is done by volunteers All members of the Academy of Model Aeronautics, a non-profit governing body for all model activity in the United States. Many have traveled hundreds of miles to lend a helping hand. Like the contestants, spectators have come from almost everywhere. The children are provided with activities to keep them occupied. Simple, free models to build and supplies for building them, while Academy members help the youngsters solve some of the problems. For those who desire more down-to-earth activity, Academy members have supplied autos to be raced and the tracks on which to race them. Few sporting events have ever offered so much for so many. There is a trade show where contestants and spectators may see the latest equipment and hear the latest technology. There are things to eye and marvel over, and there are eyes to stare back in humor. Now at Doylestown, Pennsylvania, in famed Bucks County, people from everywhere crowd onto this picturesque airfield to see the cream of the world's flyers begin the first of 4 days' intensive competition. The 7th World's Championships for Precision Aerobatics is about to begin. As flyers begin their first round of competition, each is concerned with the positioning of his plane to perform the next maneuver, then framing and flying each maneuver with precision at an exact point in the sky for the critical eyes of the 10 judges, 5 each on 2 flight lines. They can award as high as 7,000 points for a perfect flight. These scores are electronically transmitted to a tabulation center for computation into total points for the round. Of the thousands of active competition flyers in the United States, an executive from Oceanside, California, Phil Kraft, is one of the best. World champion in 1967 and runner-up in 1969, Kraft is here to attempt to recapture the world title, and the United States is counting on him to do it. Helping each flyer is his caller and assistant, the one who acts as a second set of eyes, calling out the next maneuver to be performed and leaving the flyer free to concentrate on his flying. Cliff Werrick, also one of the nation's top flyers, is caller for Kraft. Kraft's score in round 1 is close to 7,000, an almost perfect flight. He takes over the lead and sets the pace for the rounds to come. Another contestant, Wolfgang Matt, a bank clerk from the tiny country of Liechtenstein, moves into the top 6. Current world champion, Bruno Gietzendanner of Switzerland, starts his engine for his first flight. His brother Emil, also a top contender, watches anxiously from the sidelines with the hope that either he or his brother can retain the title for Switzerland. Gietzendanner's standing as world champion depends on his ability to perform every maneuver flawlessly. And flawless he was. At the end of this round, Gietzendanner moves ahead of Kraft of the United States. Jim Whitley of Decatur, Alabama, a group insurance salesman and former championship golfer, makes his first flight. As with most of the other competitors, Whitley's plane is of his own design and named Daddy Rabbit in the language of his native Alabama. As he flies, each pilot is often faced with conditions unlike those of the flyer who preceded him. Humidity changes can affect power and lessen or increase aircraft performance. Gusty winds that shift and affect precision control to the point where an otherwise perfectly flown maneuver will appear to the judges as one poorly executed. With line squalls plaguing the area Each flyer has his distinct problems. Even so, Daddy Rabbit wins Whitley, 5th position in round 1. As the tension mounts, youngsters on the field turn to remedies that they have found from extensive personal research to be best in such situations, while Whitley and Gietsendana express their feelings about scores more directly. There's also interesting sideline activity and a chance for youngsters to get a closer look at this new sport.
Have you built any model airplanes?
Yes, I've built a little small wooden glider, and now I'm trying to build an RC model.
An RC model? Good. What kind? Do you have any idea yet?
The kid's named Who's Your Hot Shot.
Who's Your Hot Shot? Well, that's a little bit different from Mr. Matt's airplane. You think you could build one like that?
No.
How big is the Who's Your Hot Shot?
So big. That's so big on the bottom.
The flyers themselves never relax. Each maneuver is analyzed so that flights to come may be performed more perfectly.
Adesso comincia con tutto primo. Secondo poi dipende molto da giuria perché abbiamo cominciato.
The 4-point roll had a little more fuzz on it than the spin. The spin, you know, I'll tell you that.
Servo ei mene niin kuin ääriasin, vaan se menee hitaammin, mutta on kuitenkin täysin
The
ohjelmia.
results we publish are provisional. The official results will not be in until all airplanes have been through our impound area.
What is impound? What's meaning impound?
The airplane has to be looked over, checked, official rules, everything to make sure. If it's one of the top 5, very carefully must process it.
Okay.
So that no changes or anything, nothing can be done. Okay? Understand?
Fan is 28 inches.
Fuse one.
It's 11 and a half. PM is 27.
Ja, dat is zo moeilijk.
Hanno Pretner, Austria, now flying on flight line 2.
Take off! Now!
Another top contender is Hanno Pretner of Austria. Popular, a student, and one of the youngest of the competitors. Pretner, at 19, is the Austrian national champion, a title he has held for 4 years. Participants in this sport are faced with unique situations, ones not encountered in other sports. They have no physical contact with the object with which they compete. When airplanes come toward them at almost 100 miles an hour, right is left and left is right. If the plane is inverted, up becomes down and down becomes up, while right and left are reversed all over again. Small wonder that world championship contenders in this sport are a highly select few. Decisions are made in less than split seconds, with the pilot on the ground often more than a quarter of a mile away. A chemical engineer from Pensacola, Florida, Ron Chidgey, calmest of all the competitors, waits his turn in the ready box. Pretner's flight has moved him into 4th place, a position he will hold to the end of the championships.
Take off! Now! Take your aim!
A top flyer himself, Dr. Jim Edwards, a dentist, is the American team manager. He was chosen for his competence and ability to handle the job. His concern now is to see his men win the team championship as well as individual victories.
Whitley
Whitley?
He's already out, I think.
He's out now, is he?
I think Kraft is now in third. Matt is first.
Oh, I thought Whitley would have done a bit of...
Well, he can still. But after the last count is Matt, Giesendanner, and then Kraft.
I see.
Landing!
Chidgey is well known for his ability to fly better as the tension of competition increases. This tension was to be the subject for that evening's conversation among the American team members.
If you can do all of your thinking and everything before you fly, and when you say, take off beginning now, and devote your entire concentration to the flying, and you're not at the World's Championships, you're not practicing, you're not anywhere. And what I try to do is to concentrate on making the airplane do what it's supposed to do, and after it lands, then we'll see how it compares in World Championships, but not while it's in the air. I couldn't fly that way.
I try to work myself up to a pitch you wouldn't believe. I gotta get so uptight that anybody talks to me, I'm allowed to hit them. Really.
Well, I think everybody has their own individual pace that they have to set for themselves. We've been in it long enough that we know what we have to do. Like I told my caller, mechanic, Doc Coleman, I says, tomorrow, I don't want any coaching whatsoever and no comments, no nothing from anybody, and let Doc, the team manager, keep everybody away from me, because I don't want to do anything except plan my flight for 15 minutes before.
The tension doesn't go away. It gets worse. It builds. It's so bad, I'm not worth living with. Nobody else is even going to be near me. You know, like you say, even in little boxing, I might have done it one time. You get in the ring and someone gets smacks you and smacks him, all the tension's gone. You know? But not here. It builds. You don't work it off. You just don't work it off. Maybe it's a great sport for that reason, but us old-timers are going to... It takes a little more each year, maybe, to do that well.
Ronnie, you're the youngest member of this team. This is your first international competition. What are your impressions?
Young.
That team manager's job is a lot easier.
No, I disagree. I'd rather be flying.
I've entered 10 or 11 nets, and you know, it's pretty much gotten to be just another contest. You really don't get uptight before a flight so much, but being on the team and knowing that the whole world is watching it really puts the pressure on. And I've never been as nervous as I have at this contest, I don't believe. Not as long as I can remember.
With few points separating them, the top three are now Giesendanner of Switzerland, the present champion, Matt of Liechtenstein, and Kraft of the United States. A decisive battle was about to begin between Matt and Kraft.
No! Speaker and... No! Double element! Now! Double element! No! Outside loop! Now! Fish, Cuban, 8. Now. Complete. 3 outside loops. 4-point roll is next. No. 4-point roll. Now. Complete. Inverted straight flight. Maneuver now. Wait. No roll. No. Finish. Landing.
As the day's flying ends, Kraft's bearing down has produced results. He is now in second place behind Gietzendanner, leaving Matt close behind in third position with scant points separating them. Tomorrow, the final day, will find each of these men under tremendous pressure.
Maneuvers here are typically much smaller than they are at our nationals.
Yes,
Right?
We think that the smooth, big maneuvers are pretty, but Phil has always been of the mind that the longer flight path you have, the more time and opportunity you have for mistakes and the more exposure before the judges. And I think what we better aim for is to get ourselves together and fly like the judges want to see flown.
It's tough to change in the middle of the competition, though.
I don't mean making it drastic.
We can't change now because our aircraft and our designs are set up to the point where we've got to do the best we can with them. And I don't think that matters that much. We're set up to do the...
Right. I really don't know that we'll gain anything. Daddy Rabbit makes Daddy Rabbit-sized maneuvers, and he scored well on that flight. And Phil made smaller maneuvers, and he scored well. So I think really it's not that important. I think the important thing is that we find the groove, find our own groove, and stay in it, and do the best we can.
And do the maneuvers.
Frame the maneuver.
Like we've been talking about. That's right.
So consequently, you've got to make every single flight as good as you can. You've got to be consistent. You've got to do your best. You can't pay any attention to judging. I think the best thing to do is not even look at the scores. They just make you mad. It'll average out. If it doesn't average out, well, you know, there's always 2 years from now.
But we're in an awful excellent position here. We're all three in the top 6, standing right now at 2, 4, and 6.
What is the point spread?
The point spread between number 1 and 2 is 245 points, which really it's little pick things off of several different maneuvers that can do it. This is why framing and rhythm is so important. This is why you got to position the maneuvers where the judges can see them best, because of course if they can't see them to judge them best, then you can't fly them to fly them best. It's the positioning is the whole thing. So I'm very confident, and I'll say this maybe in a bragging way, but I don't think that there's any sweat as far as the team championship goes, and I'd like to see this team in 1, 2, and 3. This is what we've been counting on since Memphis, where we held the eliminations. We've all worked hard. It's coming to an end, and let's get the thing over in a way that we'll remember for the rest of our lives.
Yes, they did do something they would remember the rest of their lives. The United States recaptured the team title, while Gietzendanner, Matt, and Kraft went on to battle for the title of world champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to present this FAI trophy to the world champion in aerobatics, Bruno Gietzendanner.
It was the little pick things that mattered for all of them. Wolfgang Matt in second place, Phil Kraft in third, and Bruno Gietzendanner, the world champion.